element, compound and mixture that we will continue today. So we have already discussed about the classification of matter, and we have discussed the two topics, that is pure substances and mixture. So today we will see what is the next classification of pure substances. Already we have discussed that what is a pure substance. So if we will classify a pure substance, it is of two types, or we can classify it into two groups, elements and compounds. Okay, so today in today's class we will discuss about elements. Later on in our next video we will discuss about compounds. Okay, so what is an element? Suppose if I will give you an example, the same I am repeating as I have given in our last class. Two hydrogen atom, they will combine to form a hydrogen molecule. Okay, but two hydrogen and one oxygen, they will combine to form water. So what difference you can see here? One difference you can mark that here the atoms are similar, but here the atoms are not similar. Here the hydrogen molecule is formed by the combination of only hydrogen atom, but here water is formed by the combination of two hydrogen along with one oxygen. If you can notice here, it got a single or similar kind of atoms, but here it got three kinds of atoms. So these kind of substances we call it as elements, and these kinds of pure substances we call it as compound. Okay, this is also a pure substance, this is also a pure substance, but in this substance the molecule formed is the combination of only single or similar kind of atom. These kind of substance we call it as element, and these kind of substances is made up of two or more different kinds of atoms, we call it as water. Okay, again one example I will give you, table salt or this common salt that we are taking. The formula of table salt is NaCl, sodium chloride. So here two atoms are involved, one is sodium and another is chlorine. That's why it is a compound, it is not an element. Okay, so the same we can take if we will take a pure gold. If we will take a piece of pure gold, then this piece of gold contains only gold atom in it. There will be no mixing of gold, silver, iron. I am talking about pure gold. So it consists of only gold atom. So this we can call it as element. So got it? The difference between element and compound? Element is a pure substance that contains only one kind of atom. Remember, only one kind of atom. And compounds are the substances that have more than one kind of atoms. Okay, so today we will not discuss about compound, we will go thoroughly about elements. So as I said, elements are the combination of one kind of atoms, and there are about 118 elements discovered till now. Okay, till now 118 elements discovered, from where 92 elements already exist in nature, and rest all elements they are discovered by scientists. Remember this, till now 118 elements they are identified or discovered, from where 92 exist in nature and rest all they are discovered in laboratories. Okay, and these elements they are placed in periodic table that we will discuss in our next video. So if we will classify elements, again elements can be of these types. What? Metals, non-metals, metalloids and inert gases or noble gases. Elements can exist in these four forms: metals, non-metals, metalloids or inert gases, or else we can call it as noble gases. Okay, so let's talk about the metals first. So here we will first talk about metals. So many examples of metal we can see: iron, gold, silver, copper. These are the example of metals. So metal, we can see some characteristics present. Means how we can identify that this is a metal. Okay, there are some characteristics of metals. By seeing that, we can see or we can identify that as a metal. So one by one characteristics we will discuss. Number one, hard solid. Metals are generally, they are hard and they exist in solid form, but except sodium and mercury. Sodium and mercury are two metals which do not exist in solid form. If you can see a thermometer, inside the thermometer we got mercury, and that mercury is in its liquid form. Okay, so mercury is a metal, but it exists in its liquid form, not its solid form. So generally metals exist in their solid forms except sodium and mercury. Number two, they have high melting point and boiling point. If you will see a metal, metals have high melting and boiling point. Okay. Number three, shiny. Okay, suppose take an example of gold or silver. Metals are generally lustrous or they are shining. Okay, they are not. They do not appear dull. They always shines. This is the third characteristics of metals. They are shiny. Ductile. Ductile means we can make a thin wire of metal. Very nice example you take the copper wire. Copper wires are generally used in electric instruments. The wire that we are using for electricity, for transferring electricity. The wire that we are using in our home, that contains copper. Okay, so copper is a nice example which shows ductility, or metal has the property of ductile. Means when we will beat metal, we can prepare a thin wire of that metal. That property of metal we call it as ductile. Metals are ductiles. They are malleable. They are malleable means when we will beat metals with a hammer, we can prepare a thin sheet. Very nice example, you take iron. Okay, if we will take a piece of iron and we will beat that iron with a hammer, then that piece of iron will not break easily. Rather, we can prepare a thin sheet, iron sheet. The same we are using aluminium foil. Aluminium is a metal. Aluminium foil generally we are using to store food for packaging. Okay, so that aluminium foil is an example of malleable metal. So aluminium is a metal and we can make the thin sheet of metal. Do not get confused between ductile and malleable. Ductility or ductile means making metals into or forming metals into thin wire. Malleable means forming metals into sheet. Okay, this is into wire and this is into what? Sheet. Okay, so these are the two properties. Next, sonorous. Sonorous means when we will take a metal, suppose a gold, silver or iron, any metal when we will take, and when we will put it over a surface, it will form a sound. It will form a ringing sound. That ringing sound we call it as what? Sonorous. You can also see this by using a coin, okay, or your ring, okay. So that is the property we call it as sonorous. Means metals produce ringing sound. That is called sonorous. Good conductors. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Okay, when we will connect a metal to a wire, it can conduct electricity very easily. So metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. So these are some characteristics of metal. Again, both you know it is there in your book. We can compare the same with non-metal. Metals are hard solid, non-metals are liquids or gases. Okay, metals are solids generally and non-metals are liquids and gases, except some like carbon is a non-metal, but it is not in the form of liquid or gases. It is in its solid form only. So it is an exception. As here I have given the exception like sodium and mercury. So here also non-metals generally they occur in liquid or gaseous forms, except some exceptions. One I am telling you, carbon. Okay, carbon is a non-metal but it exists in its solid forms. Second, it has high melting point and boiling point in metal, but in non-metal it has low melting point and boiling point. Just opposite. Same, it is shiny, it is not shiny, rather it is dull. Okay, they are not shiny by appearance, they are dull in appearance. Ductile means we can make wires of metals, but these are non-ductiles. We cannot make wire of non-metals. When we will beat it with hammer, it breaks or it forms powder. We cannot take some small example of charcoal. Okay, that we are using as a fuel to cook sometimes. Okay, charcoal or coal that we are, you can say, if you will beat that coal with a hammer or something with a stone, they will form powder. Rather, it will not form a wire structure. So, non-metals are non-ductile, but metals are ductile. Metals are malleable, but non-metals are non-malleable. We cannot make sheets of non-metals. Sonorous, metals form ringing sound, but non-metals do not form ringing sound. Good conductors, metals are good conductors, but non-metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity. So these are some characteristics of metals and non-metals. Again, go through it. It is there in your book, the characteristics of metals and non-metals. So we have completed metals and non-metals. What about metalloids? The name itself it is telling. Metalloids means they are the intermediate group between metals and non-metals. Means they have both the properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, bromine is an example of metalloid. Okay, so metalloids are the group of elements. They have both the properties of metals and some properties of non-metals also. That's why we can call them as metalloids. Okay, so next in my practical video, I will show you the metals, metalloids and non-metals. Okay. Next, inert gases. So we have discussed metal, non-metals and metalloids. Next we will discuss inert gases or noble gases. So inert gases or noble gases are the group of elements which can never react. Okay, they never react with any other element. Just remember this. Noble gases or inert gases are the group of elements. They never react with any other elements. Always they exist independently. They are non-reactive. You will read more about this in your higher class about noble gases, why they are non-reactive. All this you will have in your higher class. Okay. So for now you just remember elements can be grouped into metals, non-metals, metalloids or inert gases. What are the characteristics of metals, metalloids and non-metals, inert gases already we have discussed. Okay, so this is the classification of elements, or this is the type or forms of elements. About compound we will discuss later. Before discussing compound, we will have one main discussion now. Okay, that will be very helpful to you, and you will have this topic in your higher class also. Okay, so one new topic now I will discuss, one small topic. Symbol. We will discuss a new topic, that is symbol. So what do you mean by a symbol? Symbol means the short name or the short form. As we all are given with our nickname, so that it will be easy for all to call with a nickname. Okay, so we got a good name also, that is little bigger in size, but we also got a nickname so that our parents can call us easily. Like that, all the elements can be written with their short names. We call it a symbol. Okay, so there are some criteria, there are some rules to write a symbol. Listen it carefully. At first I am giving you an example, hydrogen. So here you can see hydrogen starts with the letter H, and that's why we can write the symbol of hydrogen as H. is used as a symbol. But remember, do not write it as small h. The first letter you are writing, it should be always in capital form. So the symbol of hydrogen is H. This is the first one. Second rule, suppose helium. Now you will ask me, madam, the first letter of helium and hydrogen is similar. How can we write now the symbol for helium? Now in this case, we will use the second letter, that is He. Got it? Again I am repeating. The criteria to write symbol is to use its first letter. For hydrogen, here we have used its first letter, that is H. And for helium, again it got H. That's why here we are using its second letter, that is He. So if there is a matching or there is a similar letter present in two elements, then we can use the second letter. But one thing, note it down, here the second letter will be in small form. Here I have written only H, here I have to write in capital. But here for He, I can write the first letter in capital, but the second letter in small form, He. One more example I am giving, carbon. So here, the first letter here we got C, that's why we can write it as C. Calcium, the same, repeated. Carbon also got its first letter C and calcium also got its first letter C. That's why here we will use the second letter C, A. And again you can mark here I have written C in capital and A in small letter. Okay. One more thing, chlorine and chromium. So you can see here the first letter is C in chlorine and again the first letter is C in chromium. The second letter is H in chlorine and the second letter is H in chromium. That's why in this case we have to go for the third letter. What is the third letter? L. And what is the third letter in chromium? R. That's why the formula or the symbol of chlorine is Cl. And for chromium, the symbol is Cr. Got it? So this is the formula or this is the way to write symbol. Again I am repeating. Use the first letter always to write the symbol and that should be in capital form. If some of the elements they got same letter at the first, that time you take the second letter. Here I have given you example of helium and hydrogen. Here for hydrogen we have written H, that's why for helium here we have written He and the second letter will be in small form. Same for carbon and calcium. And again if the second letter is also repeating, then we can go for the third letter. Here I have given you the example of chlorine and chromium. So the formula of chlorine here we are writing Cl and the formula of chromium here we are writing Cr. Like that, you have to write the symbol. There are around 20 to 25 symbols given in your book. Just learn that symbols. Again, there are 118 elements as I said. Now it is not possible for you to learn all that symbols. Gradually you will learn it in your higher class. For now you, if possible, read at least up to 20 symbols. The symbol of 20 elements, you just read it out. Again one thing, for some elements, the symbols are represented by using their Latin names. Okay, some elements they also got their Latin names and they are represented with their Latin names. The symbols are represented with Latin names. Suppose gold. The Latin name of gold is aurum. That's why the symbol of gold is AU. Okay, here we have taken the first two letters. Iron. The Latin name of iron is ferrum. That's why the symbol of iron is Fe. Okay, the same. Silver, the Latin name of silver is argentinum. That's why we represent it as Ag. Instead of representing it as silver means it is starting with S, but as it got its Latin name, we cannot write S to symbolize silver. The Latin name we have to take, that is Ag. Ag is for silver. example also. For lead, the Latin name of lead is plumbum, that's why we are representing it as PB. Instead of writing L, we represent it as PB. So there are also some elements which are being represented by using its Latin names. Okay, so this is also given in your book. Just go through these symbols and Latin names. After this, we will have discussion of main or important thing, that is about periodic table. Do not miss that video. There we will discuss about periodic table, means how you can read a periodic table. It is you might have seen periodic table. There are some charts of periodic tables you might have seen, but how to read that? It is very simple to read a periodic table. So in a very easy way or very simple way, I will tell you how to read out the periodic table. That we will discuss in our next video. Till now, keep learning and learn all the symbols and Latin names and all, and then go through the topic, and we will see in our next video. Thank you.